We got Facebook Live, we got Instagram TV, we got podcasts.
We're
YouTube.
live here. I think we're perfect there as well. Now,
all right, cool.
I'm actually also going to record this. I think it does it in audio.
Yeah. So what we'll do is our plan is basically whatever words of awesome wisdom we come up with today from this random bedroom in this is South Jersey. This is so weird. This is so strange. But
Yeah, I guess we have to kind of explain.
Basically, okay, just backstory. We're here. Backstory is the fact that we're here in South Jersey with my family. My brother, basically we're hanging out. It's a family vacation. And we are here on somewhere. Where are we? Long Beach Island.
Long Beach Island, New Jersey.
And we rented a beach house so to hang out. My brother has twins. They're 10 months old. My cousins, one of my cousins and her husband came here. My parents came, and we're all just hanging out, have a nice little beach vacation a couple days over the next couple days. And it just happened to be in South Jersey, which isn't that far from Philadelphia, which is where this dude is. So we're like, hey, I'm going to be in this area, and you're kind of not too far neck of the woods. Why don't we meet up and connect, and then maybe we can collaborate on some stuff? Because for those that don't know, we've been communicating online over the last year and a half with the podcast, and with the blog, and with different things. So, and recruiting guests. But now this is actually real. This is real. This is like real life. So
this is totally real.
So this is totally real. So look at that. You got to see, there. Wait, this is me. Right. There's Taylor.
What's up? Taylor. How's it going?
Yeah.
So,
there's the man bun.
Wait, let's get the angle. Get the angle.
I was like,
look.
I'm almost jealous.
Check out the velocity on that.
I'm almost jealous. I'm like, I don't get that. I don't have enough.
Watch.
If I grew out my hair, it would become a mullet.
I just want everyone to take a second here. So
that's insane.
So what I didn't realize about the man bun is as you start to just flex. So look, I mean, as we know, right? So this would be flexion, and this is extension, right? Like anatomically correct here.
So how do you take care? How do you make that? What is your?
No. We got to go back to the mechanics here real quick.
Okay. Right.
So 180-degree flexion, boom, pops back into extension.
I bet you think that you're going to get like hairstyling advice today.
Yeah.
So we're bringing it all to you at the Happy Doc.
Yeah, that's for sure. So
So what were you talking about?
Yeah. So
today, put you on that?
Today is the first day where I've actually physically met Neel.
Exactly.
Which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty insane.
And it was like that awkwardness in the beginning.
Yeah, we're like, oh shit, who's this guy?
I don't know if I shake his hand or like I gave him a hug.
Yeah, we're like,
what did we do?
Well, I think we did both. It was like this kind of half hug,
half handshake.
Because part of it, you have to understand the context and the backstory of what was going on here. So the backstory was that basically like, my family had made reservations at 5:30 at this restaurant. I didn't even know that. So we're like, oh shit. So I was like, okay, because Tara was like, I'll be there at 5:30. And I was like, all right, so I'll just meet you here. And then my family was like, no, kids need to like sleep at 7 o'clock. So we're like, all right. So we're like, so we go to this place. I said, hey, Taylor, meet me over here. And then I'm like, so we're just waiting in the place. And he's like, hey, dude. Right? I was like, cool, this is awesome. And then so I told Taylor, I was like, guess what? Things are getting serious because you get to meet all of the family.
For you guys who are watching on these screens right now, just so we all know, there's like multiple screens happening right now. So we have an iPhone.
Look at this.
We have an iPhone. We have a laptop recording from two ways right now. And we have two iPhones here as well. So we're streaming right now on Instagram Live. We're streaming on Facebook Live. Yeah. And I also have this recorded as a video that I'm going to put up on YouTube. And this is something I want us to all kind of check in right now. This is the social media age. We're having awesome conversations with your friends.
Yep.
Whatever it is, you're just having a good time meeting your friend for the first time. And you can capture that multiple angles on multiple ways and get people kind of involved in what you're doing.
And the thing that Taylor and I were talking about earlier was that the whole idea was that the big thing that we started off with, we talk about burnout and the number one thing that we talk about a lot is the fact that people get frustrated and exhausted because they lose their autonomy. Our solution to this is the fact that you double, triple down on your creative spaces, and these are your creative spaces. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's blogging, whether it's podcasting, or whether it's IGTV or whatever it is. you regain all that autonomy that the medical system is sucking out from you, all these third parties. This allows you to be you, regain your autonomy, double, triple down on it, and get rewarded with it, with attention and positive kind of like feedback. And that's the thing that's the biggest problem right now, I think, in any field, right?
So for those people who don't know who we are, like Instagram world, the people on Facebook will already know us because of our group.
Yeah.
But basically, we're a podcast about medical student physician burnout and medical student physician happiness and fulfillment. But it comes from burnout, which is basically a place where you're absolutely emotionally exhausted. You feel like you're depersonalized or you're pulled away from your work. You feel like you've lost a sense of empathy and you're absolutely just completely gone, exhausted, and you don't want to be at your work anymore. It's the opposite of feeling really fulfilled, happy, and excited about your work. And that's why we came together, because we're very passionate about the fact that if you're a doctor, you deserve to be happy and excited about the field, because if you're healthy and you're happy, you can give back to your patients in a better way, in a stronger way. And so one of those solutions is social media, where now we can be really creative and able to express ourselves in multiple ways and be able to take our natural uniqueness and talents and creativity. So like if you're good at, playing guitar, if you're good at singing, if you're good at writing, if you're good at, speaking, you can use those things to find your inner sense of freedom and bring back that autonomy or like creativity or that special part of you and bring that out in different ways. So we're sharing that with you live on these platforms because we want you guys to be freaking inspired, excited. Like we want the fire.
Get that energy back.
We want your heart to be back, because when you get that energy, then you can give to people. And that's what gets us really excited. And then we have the podcast where we have conversations with really awesome doctors who are doing amazing things in medicine, interesting things, or they just feel really happy. And we figure out what is their secret sauce, what are they doing on a daily basis, because like me, I'm like really functional about it. So if someone's doing something right, if they feel fulfilled and excited, there's probably a blueprint or things that they're doing that we can take away. And Neel, you've listened to all the episodes. We've literally recorded all of the best quotes. I mean, you've written down the quotes.
Right.
And what do you think you've gotten out of that experience?
So here's the funny thing. So Taylor, we were just just a little background. So for those of joining us late, so he joined us for dinner, got to meet the whole family. I joke, I was like, dude, you get to meet the whole fucking family. It's like, now you're part of our thing. So I get to basically razz you and do all, you're like a brother to me. So the whole thing is like, here's the funny thing. Even at I'm going to be 45 on Tuesday, and it's like, so we were just joking. I was like, dude, you were born when I graduated high school, which is insane.
Yeah.
And that's just like crazy. But at the same time, like, it allowed me to see where things are going. Because I'm at the halftime right now. My parents have been in practice for like 40 plus years, and they practice one type of medicine. And the fact is, the way my dad was practicing medicine at 45 years old is different the way I'm practicing medicine at 45 years old. The way that my brothers are going to practice medicine at 45 years old is going to be different than what I'm going to practice. So I'm just looking at like what's coming. And a lot of what Taylor's talking to these doctors, they're basically they're the canaries in the coal mine. This is what's happening. Look, these things, whether it's like podcasting or they're talking about stuff about basically what they're talking about is the new creative, what I call the creative premier economy. And basically the idea that it's going to be all creative and individualized and personalized, and there are going to be new paths to create based on what your loves, what your passions, your life experience and skills. And I kind of I got a poor connection.
Poor connection?
Yeah.
Pause due to poor connection.
All right.
Well,
we'll keep going
I think we're okay on here.
All right, we'll keep going there. But the idea.
Let's see here. Maybe
let me do this. I'll just go back on the regular thing here. Technical. This is live. This is real life.
Technical difficulties.
This is real life, dude. This just proves we're not kind of like rehearsing this shit. It's just
it says here low network connection too, which is good. Why I'm also recording it not on different channels as well, which is helpful.
So, I don't know. But
so, for you guys watching this recorded, you can see that when you do things live, you gotta make sure your network connections.
Exactly.
But we're on a shared network here, so
yeah, so
it'll happen.
Let me see if I can get back on here. But the idea is there I am. All right. So the idea is that hey guys, just say hello. All right. The idea is that we can use these technologies, and you know how behind medicine is. It's like they're still fucking using fax machines. What the fuck? Who uses fax machines?
How long has a pager been out there?
Oh my god, a pager?
Well, I'm just saying,
like a rite of passage.
We can do. Yeah. I think we can do better than having a pager and a fax machine.
Fax machines and pagers. I was like, what other industry uses pagers and fax machines? Unless do pimps even use? I don't even do pimps even use pagers. I don't know. Do
they definitely use cell phones. I don't know. I can't comment on the pimp industry.
I don't know either. I don't know.
But
alright.
One of the things I think we want to talk about when we met up for today, I think we wanted to be a little bit organized in what we talked about. We said we would talk about serendipity.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
what allowed this to happen. We were just talking how crazy it is in this world.
Yeah.
If you take advantage of what the technology we have available.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think technology gets a bad rap. And then all you hear is the negative shit. It's like, oh shit, all the kids, they're just in their phones or this technology. It's like, we used to do this, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, you don't hear enough of the positive things, from our stories of hey, the reason that technology was great is allowed us to change the course of our son's medical direction.
Right. Well, and I would say, from the negative standpoint, especially for medical stuff, right? If you talk about patient information, that's a big no-no, right? You're not going to do that. You're not going to break privacy. Yeah. Negative stuff could be also people misconstruing what you're saying or whatever. But the truth is people can misconstrue anything and can get mad at you for a lot of stuff that you didn't mean.
Yeah.
So that's not a great argument. I think the positives definitely outweigh the negatives. And so coming back to serendipity, the only reason Neel and I are sitting in this room, he lives in a completely different area of the United States than I do.
Crazy.
The only reason why that happened was, and it all started when I decided to do the podcast, and I put myself out there, and I was on episode 4, and I was going to interview Jamie Katuna, who she's a really awesome medical student. She just finished her first year, and she does poetry, and she basically does almost like a slam poetry style with music on topics that are medically related, controversial topics at times. And so I thought she was doing something really cool. And I think one of her poetry, one of her voice poetry videos got 1 million views. Yeah. And so, she got really big, and I was like, okay, I want to talk to her. Neel was actually...
Yeah. I said, I like what you're doing. I said, you're going to be a big star. That's pretty much it. And I was and then she's like, oh, great, I'm going to be on this podcast. Take a listen to it.
Yeah.
And then I kind of commented on Taylor's thing. I was and we got talking, and we were like, hey, you want to be on?
So then, so he listened to it, and he kind of reached out to me, and we connected. And I was like, do you feel like you're a happy doctor? Are you excited? What's something that you've done? He mentioned his book that he wrote on osteogenesis imperfecta. And so we kind of had this interview session, and then he was all about what I was doing. Yeah. And what we're really trying to do is create a space where you can be creative, a space where you can be yourself, a space where we can bring up the energy and the happiness and the fulfillment of medicine. And then now we're starting to build, which it hasn't gone there 100% yet, is creating out tools, technologies, and applications that will be super functional to help people out. But really, this is the most important thing.
Is connecting in real life.
The serendipity.
Just the whole show.
Yeah, that connection.
Right, this is
of
I can actually...
I know, he can touch me, and I can touch him after just a message of hey, it's really cool, I like that podcast, how do we connect?
Yeah.
And, I extended my arm out for him to grab onto it, and he extended his arm out, and then this is where we are.
And I think the key lesson from this was the fact that we were humble enough to say, hey, maybe there's something better. Yeah. Just the humility to understand, no, it's only what I see right in front of me. I was what if I look beyond the surface, beyond the surface.
Yeah.
What if I looked and I journeyed out? What's going on in the real world?
Right.
You know, like, are there people? You asked the question, like, are there real happy doctors out there? I'm like, all I'm seeing is like everybody's pissed off and just burnt out and no energy.
Yeah.
And just doesn't want to be here. Like,
yeah.
Are there people who are doing it right? And if they are, what are they doing?
What are they doing?
And then it's the same thing I do with my OI space. It's like, hey, doctors don't know about this.
Oh.
You know?
Technical.
More technical.
Sorry, something went wrong during broadcast.
See, this is real. This is real life.
So that's fine. So we'll have that going. Let's click.
This is totally real.
Save.
We should tell that story about like when we were having like at the restaurant, or like the wrong place, but the bartender was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh yeah.
Like,
all right.
Planning the future. Like,
yeah. So
it's insane.
So yeah, like when Neel and I met, I think we were saying this earlier, like it was kind of like awkward and funny, and I met his family. We all grabbed dinner together.
At the same time, everything shit. It's like, oh shit, everything's here happening right now.
Yeah, it's
all real.
And it was like, it was weird, like meeting everyone. I was like nervous to meet you. I was
like,
you look like also like you're taller than I thought you'd be.
Really?
Yeah, you're like a little bit taller than I thought you'd be. And then
you're about the same. I figured you were about the same size.
Yeah, so it was kind of funny, but what like yeah, so, we were so we started writing down. We were at the restaurant and they didn't have any pens. So his son Ethan, he was drawing out like on this octopus and he was filling out the colors. Anyways, on the back side of the sheet was white space and I grabbed a crayon and we started writing out the values.
What are we gonna do here?
Yeah, like our thoughts and values on like what we want to like do within the Happy Doc and the things we create. And so we created like our top 10 things.
How are we gonna do this? And then kind of like a framework for
and then we walked over to another restaurant / bar because we wanted to like
get to know each other
more.
Yeah.
And we put the sheet down on the bar table, and it's like, and it's a white sheet which is a color, like a color in right, and it's filled in with crayons. And then the guy came up to us. He's like, "So what are you like? What is this sheet of paper about? Like, why do you have a crayon sheet of paper here? And how did you respond? I think you answered it.
I was like, I don't remember what I said.
We're building the future.
We're basically creating the future of healthcare.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, that's totally not obnoxious or anything.
Yeah,
like he was just like,
and then I was like, yeah.
I think he was intrigued. He's like, no, I'm like, it's funny. He's like, oh, one day if I see these guys on TV or something, I'll be like. I know that guy. That guy ordered like an apple orchard or something. He was like, the whole J.K. Rowling. She wrote like Harry Potter on like napkins and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, is this what? I don't know, but like not that we're saying we're that, but like we're just kind of like let's see what happens and get serendipity.
Yeah.
Get things.
I mean, the whole thing is like the podcast was this thing where. I put out into the world and the universe and everything. Like I was just saying, I want to meet people, network, talk to really cool doctors. And so I put that out there. And then Neel was an example of that where I got to meet up with someone finally, right? But I get to connect. Now we're on like episode 57 or 50.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's actually our 1 year anniversary where you interviewed me for because I was telling you about a year ago, this week. Where it was like 1 year where we had our 10 C's. 1 year
anniversary of our episode. So that's kind of crazy. So a lot of serendipitous moments.
Crazy.
But
what's happening?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. But, I put myself out there to contact people. And through that like mindset of like being open, then all these other cool people are interacting. And now I'm able to connect people together who wouldn't have otherwise connected. He's able to connect people who wouldn't have otherwise connected. And then we're talking to people with large networks as well. Mm-hmm. And different opportunities have now kind of shown themselves. Mm-hmm. And these are things I actually can't tell you guys, but just to say that we're creating some stuff that wouldn't have been possible if I wasn't sitting in Oregon, burnt out, because this all started actually in Oregon, by the way.
Yes, that's
I was burnt out in Oregon after taking step 1, and I'm a meditator. That's how I get good ideas. And I was meditating, and I was sitting there, and my insides felt warm and fuzzy, and I was like, I know what I need to do. I need to create a page or create a podcast or something, an idea, because I need to figure out who's out there who's doing awesome stuff. Because I was like, we hear only about the negative things, but this is the magic.
Yeah, so this is my theory, and this is what I was just talking about Taylor with this. So now you get to see my lovely mug. So my 45-year-old mug. So
IGTV
on Tuesday, IGTV. Hey, what's up? So there's Taylor. This is Man Bun. There's me with my receding hairline. So anyway, my whole theory was medical culture is very. You're pretty smart if to get into it. You put a lot of time, sacrifice, money, whatever. All that. We all know that, right? To get medical school training, you put all that. You dedicate your life to that. But then the thing is, what happens is like when you're thrown into there, and then all that thing just kind of goes away. You're beaten down through like you're basically told you're nothing.
Yeah.
You're shit. You're nothing. You're just like you're berated by whoever. And then what happens is over time you start internalizing. You're like, oh shit, I'm not as smart as I thought. I'm not as good. You lose
confidence.
And then it's a negative cycle. You make a mistake. You're like, crap, I failed that exam, or I didn't do this. Or, and then you're like, and people berate you even more.
Your internal self-talk changes.
And it's like, so our thinking was like, wait a second, take a step back. How is this working for us? It's not. 50% burnout. All this epidemic of suicide. People just not pissed off about everything. Not just at the medical school level, but like every level of medicine. Why? Why is that? Anyone ever asked the question why? It's because we lose our control to third parties. The sacred human connection has been desecrated by third parties who are sucking that energy out of our basic thing of why we went into medicine and our original why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So our solution, and we all know that's a problem. So over the last couple decades, because like Pamela, Pamela, all these other people, they've done the burnout side, they've done all this stuff, they've done all that groundwork and studies for us to say, we know the data, we know the study. What comes next?
Yeah.
That's where we are right now. And we're like, and what we're seeing, and it's funny because I've been telling Taylor, I was like, through our podcast, and I've been using social media over the last decade and seeing how it's possible to really regain your autonomy. I was like, So Kevin MD started at 2004 at the end of my residency. He's been doing his blogging for 14 years, and he loves it. Like he talked about it in our podcast, right? 14 years, he says it's energizing for him. He doesn't mind putting the work because it's fun. But the fun is the gateway drug to allow him to do more work and work his face off on it.
Because he enjoys it.
Because he loves it.
Yeah.
And it's energizing. And he gets positive feedback for it.
Yeah.
2, you look at people like ZogMD who did start in 2012 with YouTubing, videos. He told me it took 5 years for him to really kind of quote unquote blow up or something, really get traction. And why is that? Because he was kind of burnt out too, and he was disillusioned. And then you look at like some of their interviews, Patty Barrett, Mark Shapiro, who's Neel and Dr. All these podcasters, you ask them, how much do you love podcasts? And they'll be like, if I could or Dr. DeGreen if I could podcast, I'd give up medicine just so I could podcast. Why is that? You know why? Or bloggers or video. Why is that? Or live streaming social media. Why is that? It's because it gives their autonomy. There's no third party. The internet's the third party middle person. And it allows them to be themselves and get rewarded for double, triple, quadruple down on their unique self and humanity, that health 3.0 that we talk about a lot, that, it makes sense. I was like, so, and then they get to collaborate with like-minded people, and it's for doctors and giving doctors and students their power back. Yeah. And I was like, holy shit, this is the answer. And doubling, triple down. And
I read a lot of books from people like outside in different spaces. And I think like every single book or all of these like autobiographies like I get to read, it comes down to knowing yourself. Yeah. And then self-awareness. And then being able to be yourself always.
Yeah. What do you want?
So like when you're at work, if you feel like you can't express your opinion or you can't ask a question, or
you're stifling yourself.
Even on the basic level, you can't pee or poop or drink or eat at appropriate times for yourself. Yeah. There's a problem, and we need to figure out solutions to fix it.
It's a toxic culture.
Yeah,
and it's a vicious cycle of culture.
Yeah, but and there's also like, I feel like people accept it as is, and I think if you always accept things as they are,
why is that? Because that's the way I was trained. Right. Like, but that's stupid.
And
why should it change? Why shouldn't it change?
Exactly. And if you keep accepting things as they are, you're always going to get served what you've gotten.
Exactly.
And one of the good quotes I've seen is like, you get what you tolerate. Mm-hmm. So the problem is, and I think this is like everyone's going to agree, like medical students and doctors are very tolerant people. They're very
they can get to the point where it becomes becomes martyrs.
They're very agreeable.
And then they become. It becomes toxic to them internally.
Right.
They take everyone else, all the systemic problems, and they put it on themselves.
Yeah.
That's that superhero thing where that martyr, or like,
right.
oh shit, like they have a trouble putting boundaries down.
And one of our upcoming episodes on the podcast is going to be with Dyke Drummond. One of the things he talks about, and I think you guys will like look forward to it, is he doesn't talk about issues energetically or from like your personal self, like not just issues with yourself. But we have to also look at the issues of the organization, because the organization can have negative parts to it and positive parts to it. And if the organization's workplace is negative in terms of its energy, it really drags you down, affects you personally. So a lot of people will blame themselves, and they'll say like, "It's why am I not happier? Why am I not doing better?" But maybe you have to look around at your workplace.
Yeah, the system.
If you walk into your workplace and everyone's unhappy, or everyone's complaining, everyone's unhappy, or everyone's complaining, everyone looks like they're frustrated, everyone looks like they're angry, everyone looks like they're tired. Like Neel said, it's not you, it's your workplace, and that's a toxic workplace.
Yep.
And the crappy part about it is if you come in happy or excited or with energy, people are
like,
look.
What the hell's wrong?
Yeah, with people think like people are going to think like you're not working.
Are you on drugs or something?
Yeah, like are you on drugs? Like, did you just do something? They're going to think you're not working hard enough because you don't look tired.
You don't have enough effort, initiative.
Like you're not fitting into this workplace. Really, what we need to ask ourselves is, how do we all walk into the place excited, happy, being able to talk to people, but still being able to work and help people, work hard and enjoy yourselves, but still be conversational, enjoying yourselves. And so we really need to ask those questions. What do we have to do on the organizational level, and then personally? Personally, you can be amazing, but if your workplace sucks, it's not going to work.
And what happens, that sucks that out of you. The amazing part of you.
Yeah.
This slowly, it's like cancer, like a slowly thing, it sucks out slowly like a bleach, kind of like, and you get drained.
And that's why we describe medicine right now. Medicine
like, I'm just drained, I got no energy.
We came in with, like, I mean, think about med school. Like, I'm sure you can think of, like, plenty of people in medical school that came in, high aspirations, high hopes, excited, lots of energy, ready to learn, want to help people. And by the end, they're burnt out and they just want to leave medicine. How do we, and like, here's the $1 million question, or $1 billion question. How do we create a place where you don't want to leave work? Like, you love being there. And why do you love being there? Because you get to connect with really cool people. Yeah. You stare at them in the eyes. Mm-hmm. You have a real conversation. And you have that moment, like we had an interview, like, what's the reason? What gets you excited about medicine? Yeah. That moment where I realized all that hard work I put into this.
This is what it's about.
Can change your life right now in this moment. Like, that's the reason.
Yeah, or you're just like, holy shit, I just saw The Matrix.
Like,
I was like, wow, this is it.
That one biochem exam I hated, like that one
organic chemistry.
That one I mean, I don't know how often it's orga, but like that one anatomy exam I aced, and now I understand the mechanics of why your bicep ruptured. Yeah. Like, I can explain this to you. These are the steps we're going to take to help repair you. These are the medications we can use. Like, in this moment, my knowledge means something, and I'm going to be able to connect with you. That's why it matters. And we have to get back to that. Yeah. And then figure out how to, like, reduce, make improvements on all the other crap that really doesn't matter.
And part of it's also, I think the way I look at it, it's also, we're at a crossroads right now. And it's also with all these new technologies, like, it's coming. Do you really want people that started, like, the EHR and all these other things and all these third parties that made that up to, like, really do the same stuff with this new stuff? Yeah. Like, how's that working out? No, it's like, why not give it back to the doctors who know how to do this and the students who are living with this technology of, like, just give it back to them because they'll make it better. Yeah. It's more about autonomy and giving back creative. So when I talk about creative, like, I say this a lot. So what I talk about is, like, so creativity is basically a synonymous with, like, your unique humanity. But it's also a space, the more creative spaces you have to display your humanity and amplify and double down on it. It's a way to, it's your energy booster, and it's the way I look at it, it's like, it's your space to regain your autonomy, who you are, and basically double, triple, quadruple down on it, and basically and you can leverage that for attention, and with the internet and all these things, to really regain who you are, but also become very powerful.
Yeah, and
it would connect with other people and collaborate.
And I think it's really important for all of us to watch where society is moving. Because medicine is always going to be how it is, right? It's going to be this field. It's not always going to be how it is. Like, I want us to change it. But what I'm saying is medicine is, like, when you go to medical school, they're not going to teach you where society's heading in terms of tech, in terms of social media,
business,
in terms of business, in terms of entrepreneurship. That stuff's on you, and that's why we're having these conversations too, because we're doing the heavy lifting for you.
Yeah.
If you're not paying attention, you're always going to be controlled by someone. When you're an employee, that's part of being an employee, is you don't have power.
Right.
The way you get your power back is by knowing where society's heading and being a part of that. Being a part of that, because if you're an expert, not just as a doctor, now we're heading towards this conversation, not just being a doctor, but being an expert in terms of social media, or being a book writer, or being an artist, and you start to combine these special talents and skills that are market approved, meaning that people actually want this thing. Like right now, why is Twitter and Instagram and Facebook so popular? Is because right now we're creating niches, specific markets. Like, let's say I am a person who's really good at singing and I sell shoes. I have a specific market of people who are shoe lovers and like love my songs. And now different shoe companies are going to reach out to me and want a little bit of that action. And so now I can have fun making music about shoes. And also Nike's going to pay me, and Adidas, they're going to pay me too, right? So what we need to understand is when we can do hybridization of multiple skills, utilizing these platforms that are modern day stuff. That are free, by the way, completely free. Reduce friction, bring back freedom, creativity. You can have fun online, and you might be able to create a whole side business just by having fun. And you're going to make money, you're going to regain your freedom, and then all of a sudden you might have a side gig or a side job or whatever, passion project that is going to make you money, is going to make you feel great, is going to give you validation when the other field hasn't taught you how to do that. And then you could also feed medicine into it, so you could educate people. You could,
the amount of combination. I posted an article about creativity, how they say that people who have multiple. You know that they used to call them Renaissance. I'm a Renaissance man, or people who have like multiple Leonardo da Vinci, or like all these different people who had like Steve Jobs, like artists. They were artists.
Polymaths.
Polymaths. All these different skills. The fact is, like Benjamin Franklin, like. If you're good at like multiple skills, in this day and age, the way you regain your autonomy is you double, triple down, quadruple down on your skills, life experiences, and passions. And then you use these platforms because basically what you're watching us right now, you're watching us on a TV screen right now. This is the primary screen right now. So, and then if you're listening,
there is no TV
anymore. That's irrelevant.
People who are watching TV, unfortunately, people are watching TV, like, in the next 20, 30 years, like, that's not going to be a thing.
Secondary.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, that's TV.
So here's the thing. You have, in your hand, you have a TV station, a radio station, and a newspaper. We're showing you right now. This is what we're doing. Right? He's the radio producer. He's producing his own radio content on the thing. We're doing the TV multiple simulcasts. These are multiple. This is CBS, NBC, ABC, Fox, all together, PBS, all that together in one space.
And the thing is like, I used to be so anti-tech. Like, I really am, like, in a lot of ways, anti-tech in the way that I want to take breaks. I want to fast from technology. I don't always want it to be intrusive. But what we need to understand is this is the language. This is the next step in our language of how we will be giving information to people, and so it's really important to stay knowledgeable and up to date on this form of communication, because if you are and you're able to apply it effectively, you'll be able to reach more patients. You'll be able to reach more like audience members. you're going to be able to better, like, for example, if you're a physician right now and you're listening to this, like, imagine your patients already knowing who you are and what you're about and how you can help them before they enter the clinic.
They're like, and just to add on to that, to like unpack that, how many of you get pissed off when like patients put poor reviews on Yelp or these other satisfaction things? It's like, this is your calling right here to fight back and get your review to what Kevin MD and Wendy Sue Swanson, who are our guests, basically to say, hey, I'm not going to let other people make opinions online of what I am. No, I'm going to put my content. So, Taylor, you want to tell a story about, like, just a little story about the resident that, or someone that knew about you before you
Right. So, like, you know, it's kind of funny, but now it's not just one. I've had several students that, like, have come up to me while I'm working, and then they'll be like, oh, are you Taylor from the Happy Doc podcast? Or they'll come up to me and they're like nervous, and then they introduce themselves, and then I'll be like, yeah, what's going on?
You're like micro-celebrity.
And then, yeah, like a little micro-celebrity.
It's weird.
And then they have a little bit of a conversation, but like they'll know about me and what I'm about and the people I've spoken to before I've even met them. And there's probably several people that were too nervous to come up to me.
That's crazy.
That's
insane.
Too nervous to come up to me that I didn't speak. So, long story short is even if it's just like a marketing standpoint, you can get more patients coming into your practice because
it's good business.
Yeah, it's good business.
Good
it's good karma.
Yeah.
You spread good knowledge and education to people that otherwise would have maybe missed it. Maybe the way you educated that concept was more effective or more culturally aligned. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, like in Indian culture, maybe you understand Indian culture better, so you might educate on top. You know what I mean? Like,
so here's the thing. Also, the other thing is about what we talk about, like, is the fact that so much of what we talk about burnout, it's all reactive. Just in our space with the OI space with Ethan's fractures, like, we are going to take actions. Be like, we're not going to let him go through a displaced femur fracture. We're not going to wait to have surgery. We're going to do it in advance so he can be on offense and be proactive.
Right.
About, like, so when he's weight bearing, we can put the rods in him so he can go take his first steps at a normal developmental age.
Right.
That's the reason at like 9 years old, being proactive about these things. The idea is that you don't wait to be like burned. The idea is like you basically create a new space where you're energized. Yeah. You don't wait for your energy to get sucked up. You fill your tank up first. Right.
So this, if anything, like entertaining a new section of, you know, a way thinking about how you might express yourself is the way for you to be anti-burnout in your life or in more thrive mindset in your life. This is something we wrote on our like list that we were referencing before. Mm-hmm. Is you have to, here's the thing, if you're listening to this, it's not enough because you have to be a practitioner of creating content or expressing yourself. So if you've never played around with that, like if you're just frustrated, start writing poetry or a song or draw an art piece or like just like
or get into entrepreneurship, whatever you love.
Yeah.
Find a way to or you cook or you work out. Find a way to integrate that skill.
Yeah.
Because people want to know what our doctors they've said the public wants to know what you think.
Yeah.
So integrate your unique skill set. Like, hey, I'm into like drawing painting watercolors.
Yeah.
And I like what's that? SP like XP90.
Yeah. P90.
Yeah. PX90. Whatever that was.
Yeah.
That's like you know. And then like and I like and I live in like I live in like I don't know, Idaho or something.
Yeah.
Right? You combine that unique skill set, you have no competition.
Yeah.
And then you can get like sponsors and all this other stuff. And it gets your creative mind because going forward, what I keep saying is that going forward, it's the creative knowledge economy.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all about how do you create new paths. It's not black and white. It's more multiple shades and textures of gray.
And we're, you know, as we're talking, the recording stopped. One sec here.
Yeah,
technology.
This is going low battery. So.
Oh, is your phone low battery?
No, it's still good though. But one thing before I did want to get this in.
There you go.
So my question for you, because you've been doing this for a year.
Yep.
So let's flip the script. what have you learned? Let me get everyone to make sure I want to get this. What? Pause because I wasn't using that. Oh, there we are. Okay. What? This is total tech.
We're getting there, though. But this is part of it. This is all part of it.
We're learning. So let me ask you a question, Taylor. You've been doing podcasting for almost a year and a half now?
Yeah.
What have you learned the most over the last of all these guests? Where you started, and what are the themes that you're seeing? What have you kind of learned? What are you seeing over and over again?
I really do think that, I would say the number. I mean, I can't even give a number. I say the one thing is you got to be brave, and courageous. Mm-hmm. And I think when it comes down to it, most people let their fear win over their courage to be who they want to be. Yeah. And time again, like when you have that moment where your courage wins and you actually go for that thing that you want, or just put yourself out there. I just read The Alchemist. So
there you go. Yeah, right.
Like the universe conspires to make your dreams come true. Like your desires to come true. And and even though it's a book, I really do see it in...
So can you... Sorry. Can you talk about... I know so many, like, just Indian immigrant first generation. Yeah. There's so many like this. Yeah. Can you talk about how do you reconcile your dreams, your passions, your skills, what you want to do in medicine, if it's not what you want to do, with someone else's dreams, passions, or what their vision of what they think you should be doing, or society... Or, that's just what you should be doing. That's like, you can't do anything in that.
Right, like, so how do you reconcile that?
Yeah.
So I'll actually talk to you about that, like, from a personal standpoint. Mm-hmm. Like, I was telling you this during dinner as well. Just like, my grandpa always wanted to be a master or have his PhD or doctorate in something, and it never happened for him. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, and I got it from my family too, is Taylor, you have to be a doctor. Taylor, you have to be a doctor. Taylor, you have to be a doctor. Yeah. I think originally actually they said lawyer at some point.
Yeah,
I became a doctor.
I get it. Immigrant. I'm for sure. Doctor, lawyer, or immigrant. Right. Education's the way out.
I had this, like, and I did well in college, and I had good grades, and I was able to apply to medical school. But I don't 100% know if I fully thought about all my options. And at that time, I was like 20, 21, right? Mm-hmm. So, I had this, I think around first or second year, where I had this like thing that came to me. I was like, who am I doing this for?
Exactly.
And I had this like, I'm not kidding you, I had like a moment like where I was literally on the ground, like tears, like crying, like on the ground, like upset. And I'm like, who am I doing this for? Exactly. And I had this crazy moment where I was like, I can leave right now, or I can stay. And I really, truly, I started writing, I wrote up the plan of how I was going to leave, how I was going to deal with the loans, what all this stuff. Yeah. And then I decided I was going to stay. Mm-hmm. And I said, when I decided I was going to stay, I said, this is for me. Yep. I said, if I'm going to leave, it's for me. And if I'm going to stay, it's for me. So how do you reconcile that? I think the truth is that you have to live your life in your truth. Mm-hmm. And every generation has a different take on what success is. Yeah. But success isn't what someone else says it is. Success is what you know in your heart. Like, success for you might not, like, let's say you're rich and you have the beautiful partner and the beautiful house, but all you really want to do,
all the boxes.
But all you really wanted to do is to travel the world and play music. Yeah. Then that's not success. Yeah. Because
what do you define as success?
That's that's not success, because to me success is really what you wanted on your terms. Yeah. And yeah, you can have some good things there too, but you do really need to figure out what success is to you. Yeah. So my answer would be, how do you reconcile it? You reconcile it by figuring out what you want and actually going for it.
But I think also the other thing is, like, there's so much, like you're talking about fear. Yeah. The most common fear is the question, what will so-and-so think?
And I think, and I have this conversation with my girlfriend, like literally, like I think it was yesterday, and I think when you start to be a leader, like, to me, being a leader, and not just a leader in like the sense of leading a group of people, but leading your life, being a leader of your life, is knowing that people are not going to like you.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we try to, I mean, I do this too. Like, so I'm talking to myself as I'm saying this.
Yeah.
We people please too much.
Definitely. The martyr complex.
We people please too much, but what we're doing is we're marginalizing our true self, who really just needs to like do the thing that we want to do.
And then eventually what happens, you don't realize that you're like, before you know, you're overwhelmed and you're stressed out.
You're overwhelmed, you're stressed out.
Physical, mental, emotional health, and you're like, what just happened?
You're 60 years old, and then you realize...
It happened to me at like 40, just recently, a couple months ago, and I was like, whoa, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, and how many times, I mean, if you read those articles of like, you know, the palliative care specialists, or the doctors who see patients on their deathbeds, what are they saying? The number one thing is regret.
Regret, yeah.
But I really do think that living your true life is knowing at any day, at any moment, you could die, and you're going to be happy.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
If you know...
Perspective.
If you
know... That was the thing with Ethan, like when I was told, I still say to this day, the thing that changed my course in trajectory, what I was going to do in medicine, was the day I sat there across from the perinatalist. They said, your son is not going to live. He has a fatal condition.
Wow.
Then you're just like, life and death of your child. And you're just like, oh shit.
How did that? Like, so what about that changed you?
For that, it was more like it just put perspective everything, my stuff. And first, it was so hard to get pregnant for my wife because we were struggling, and then for her to get pregnant, and then finally you get that, and it's like, oh crap. And it was like, so then for me, it was like more. It changed me in the sense that like, okay, the most common thing I think people can understand, it's not about me. That's one thing.
Yeah.
But in a way, it is about me because it was a self-discovery journey to realize that was a path I had to take. To figure, oh, this is what I'm supposed to meant. This is my true calling in medicine.
Yeah.
Not anyone else's thing. It's my unique thing.
Yeah. So I feel like it's not about you and it is about you. Like it's about you.
It's that tugging on both sides.
So I call it, like I always called it stacking. It's about you figuring out how you are going to give back best. Don't worry about that.
Can I use that for a charger? Is that charging? Because my phone's...
Yeah, so we can charge your phone here.
See, this is real.
This is real,
totally real.
Live.
Here we are, like in a bedroom in like a beach house somewhere in New Jersey. Right? There you go. This is real. So let's continue to talk.
Yeah, so I feel like it's about you, and it's both. It's about you, it's not about you. Because what you have to realize is you is a part of the whole. Mm-hmm. So I think it's...
What just happened? Enter device passcode.
I think it's because we hooked up to the computer. So.
All right.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry,
technical
IG.
difficulty. You have to enter your code. Don't say it
Oh,
out loud.
mine? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't I pause? Go ahead. I still go there.
We're setting up the Instagram live.
Okay. See if I got this. I'm probably recording. I just can't see it on my screen.
Let's see.
Whatever.
Is it gone?
See it?
Live.
I don't hand it. Should I just keep recording it?
I'm not sure. Well, we'll have it also recorded on here as well, but...
Alright, that's fine. That's
we can click end and then...
Oh, there. Okay.
Oh, good?
It's done this before a couple times.
Okay.
There, we're good. All right.
So to continue that line of thought, is it about you or is it not about you? Mm-hmm. What you have to realize is the yourself is a part of the whole.
Yeah.
So is it about you? Is not about you? That's making it way too... the perspective is too small. Mm-hmm. And when you realize that you're part of the whole, then what you realize is the idea I call stacking.
Yeah.
And stacking is just, again, know thyself. Know yourself enough to know what you're good at, what you love doing, what you're passionate about. Yeah. And then how do you leverage your unique self to help the greater whole?
I think also it's understanding that the context of the age in which we live.
Yes.
Because part of, I think, my parents...
Yeah,
were very,
I love that. I love that point.
My parent... I had to come to my own conclusion. My parents came here from India. They did the whole medical school. They became the graduate. They did the whole internal. But then the thing is, the way my dad practiced at 45 is not the way I'm practicing right now. We didn't have all this stuff. So it's like, for me, it's like, oh crap, I can do my own thing.
So
my own path.
What you're saying is part of that stacking of yourself is stacking within the cultural context.
Yeah, because it's funny because even now, just talking to you, I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of online medical education stuff. They didn't have that when I was there. They didn't have the internet. I was like, you have all this opportunity to connect with medical students, watch these medical students who are pre-meds right now or just do their journey. I was like, damn, I wish I had that shit. Just like, because we were so isolated.
And we're probably going to be pissed off at like
the next 10 years.
My kids, your grandchildren, like all that stuff, because what we think they should be doing and what they're actually doing.
They don't know what's going on now, you know?
Yeah,
so it's like everything is changed. So I'm just watching medical, all this. Before I met, I didn't know anything about online med ed or all these like online companies. I don't know. I just use all these books. Imagine that, you know, right? But it's crazy. So, but the whole point is like, we need to use like these technology and things now that we have available. And I think that's part of the problem. This disconnect is because like I think people don't know what's going on coming up the pipe. Yeah. So they're
so what are some things coming up the pipe? Let me tell you. Okay?
Exactly. This is a good lead-in.
And I think we can come to a close on this conversation pretty soon. But what's coming up the pipe is artificial intelligence. Yeah. Blockchain technology. Mm-hmm. Augmented reality. Yeah. And virtual reality. And voice. And voice. Yeah. And those are big technology pieces. And continuing social, too. And then, obviously, social media. But honestly, I would say that people are getting so into social that it's like it's there. It's always going to be there. And it's going to be there. Yeah. And I think that the one thing is you have to also think about is barrier of entry. Yeah. The harder it is to start getting into something, aka the new stuff, the more important is to get into it sooner, because the harder it is, the more it's like, are you going to be Uber or Lyft? Yeah. The faster you get into it, you become the Uber as opposed to Lyft. Now, is Lyft doing a great job? Yes. Yeah. But the originators get in earlier, and then they get more of the impact. Yeah. So staying up to date on the stuff that's coming, and I told you the stuff that's up and coming, so you have to think about how you can think about those things and implement them into, whatever you're creating in your specific skill set. Now, to wrap it up, I would say like the big theme in this conversation, I love doing this, is basically like serendipity. Mm-hmm.
At scale.
Serendipity at scale.
Right? How's that?
The more you put yourself out there, the more these conversations happen.
Virtual and real life spaces. Meet people. Go out in real spaces. Go out virtual. Get beyond your comfort zone to allow these things to happen. Yeah. And where the magic is.
And when you allow all of that flow to come into your life, where you start to be able to connect with people and open your eyes to different opportunities, then life literally, I do think, becomes magic, and things that you didn't think were possible become possible because they literally weren't possible before.
I mean, it's crazy what's going on. Yeah, and then it's funny how it ties into even my own family. Yeah. Watching Ethan, he's watching YouTube videos, you're creating a YouTube channel. Yeah. And then he's talking about, my 9-year-old talking about the e-commerce economy with, collaborations, cross-collaborations between animators that he watches. Yeah. And using Alexa for voice to replace Google, basically just asking questions. I was like, oh, shit, this is the future. That's crazy. That's total serendipity.
I'm going to finish this with, a quick phrase. Impossible is becoming possible. Yeah. And it's from this serendipity at scale. Yeah. Where we're creating all these opportunities for these serendipitous moments to happen.
And also look what we're doing. We're actually practicing what we preach. We're showing you this is possible.
Yeah, and we're just some random dudes, right? We're doing recording. We did recording. We did some Facebook Live, which unfortunately the network poops out there.
Yeah, it's total
and stuff. And we had Instagram TV. Yeah. No, Instagram Live going on right now.
Is it IGTV or is this Instagram Live?
It's Instagram Live. Okay. IGTV is 10 minutes.
Okay. So this is IG Live. Okay.
It's Instagram Live. It doesn't matter.
So it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Not the same thing, but it's on IG.
So overall, what's up, man?
Hey, you want to be on the screen?
You want to come in?
You want to say hi?
You want to be famous?
Hi.
Wait, here. Say Ethan. Say hello. Hold on a second. We were just talking about YouTubers. Hold on a second. Let me say. Ethan, you're going to be on the podcast. We're YouTubing. We're Instagram. We're what else are we doing?
We're recording it, podcasting.
It's Ethan's big into YouTubers. He was we were just talking about how you were all the YouTubers you love.
You want to say hi to the screen?
You want to say hi, Ethan?
Hi.
You want to say hi over here? This is a TV camera over here. What do you got? Any words of wisdom about YouTubing or anything you like or anything? Any words of advice for any doctor or student that wants to YouTube? Cheese. Okay.
What do you mean by cheese?
What do you mean
like
cheese?
Smile?
Smile?
No.
You mean just incorporate cheese?
I'll just say random stuff sometimes. Any words of wisdom? No. He told me once. He's like, people hate clickbait. Don't be clickbait. Don't have clickbait. Right? All right. We're almost done. Do you have anything else, Ethan, to add or?
Not really.
Okay. Not really.
I'll just be here in the background.
Okay. You'll just be in the background.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Well, I think we're ready for a close. I think
Yeah, actually 1 minute, 2 minute warning. So
like Neel and I got to meet today, which I think was really awesome.
That was pretty cool.
And obviously, we're going to keep in touch. And
wait, we need to just make sure we're in the same screen. Oops.
Yeah.
Or just to show that people this really happened.
Yeah.
Look.
So
this happened.
So we actually got to meet today, which is really awesome.
We're that's real. That's real there.
And I would say,
look at that. Right.
And so what I would say is like one of the crazy.
Ethan's here.
One of the crazy awesome things about these channels is that we can go from non-physical to physical,
that's the idea.
Digital to physical.
Oops.
And that is a crazy opportunity that creates some magic.
So I'll just share. We got cut off. Whatever.
For everyone watching this is our live stream.
So Ethan, say bye to everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Later, peeps. That was cool.
That was fun.
That was awesome.